As humans, we often wonder, what is love? And I think that the most efficient way to define it is to just do it in a raw way, right? I don't have a script in front of me. I just have myself and my experience, and hopefully my ability to articulate myself to share with you what I think love is. And I think it will be interesting because it's thought provoking, right? We all experience love in some different forms, maybe. That's where I should probably begin from because love is so many different things. And you know this already. It could be love towards your friends, it could be love towards your country, it could be love towards your family. So, where does the line get drawn? Because often when we say we love someone, it often also carries the connotation of I love you as a person. But it also implies, especially in romantic contexts, that I love you not just as a person, but also as a partner. Also, in the sense that I want to hold you, and the way you hold me is beautiful. So maybe that's where the distinction lies. So, love, okay, we have the fact that love is universal. Then why is it so difficult to define it? Is it that all our experiences, emotions, and real life interactions shape what we define and see as love? Or is it that love is just love? Love is a feeling. And I think it's a very subjective topic because to some people, love is emotion, right? So if I look at you and just by looking at you, I feel that, little butterfly flying through my stomach, and then the other 100 butterflies come with it, then that must mean something. That to me is love. But that depends on the person, because that's just one interpretation of it. And maybe it is shaped by his experiences, his or her experiences, or maybe it is not. Maybe it is what they've seen, right? Experience and what they've seen maybe is different. Because experience is what you feel, but what you see is also what you rationalize. And I don't know if this is a very philosophical insight that's deep or a load of horseshit. But what I do believe is that it is not just this, right? Because you have some very analytical people. And I don't know what's right or wrong to define as love. Because, for example, you could say that I am an analytical person, and so, okay, I might see that I feel this love or I don't. But that doesn't mean that I don't love the person in front of me. It doesn't mean that I cannot say, you are a person I deeply love because of your qualities, because of the way you make me feel, because of the way I can be myself around you. And that's maybe the more rational type of love that not everybody experiences the same way. And it only can be rationalized in a sense because you cannot really explain or feel how that person makes you feel, right? It's just an inner feeling, which, okay, on the one hand, when I say you can't really explain it or rationalize it or even just describe the feeling, then that implies that it's not really there, right? That it's a rationalization, it's an explanation, it's a choice maybe to say, I love you as a person and the way you make me feel. But I cannot say that I love you inside of me. Or is this the love inside of me? This is, I think, maybe the most beautiful part about this whole topic, about the meaning of love, because it's felt and it's rationalized, and it all depends on what kind of person you are. I think that many times love can be, depending on your moral compass and your point of view, deceiving, because we might represent and misrepresent something that we think is love but might not actually be. That, of course, is deeply subjective, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about trauma. I'm talking about the feeling you get, the high you get when that person who hurt you the most comes back and tells you, I love you, or I want you back. And now you're thinking, wait, I'm feeling something. I know I want this person now. Or I don't know what I'm feeling, but I think this is love. And that's the beauty of it, right? And so what I'm talking about here specifically is that based on our moral compass, we will make some conclusions, or we can try to make them, because obviously having these emotions in person while you're feeling them is very powerful. Very, very powerful, right? You cannot really rationalize them. You cannot really stop them. They just happen. It's inevitable. But in theory, that is not love by some definitions, right? That is unhealthy to some extent, because, for example, this person has hurt you deeply and has devastated you, has destroyed your inner self, your inner beliefs, and told you you are not worth anything. But when he comes back, he tells you you are worth something. And if you are a person maybe driven by external validation, or you have spent so much time with this person that your inner identity is tied to him, that can be devastating, and that can be said to be love. And you feel something because maybe deep down your whole identity is dependent on this person's response. And you could argue that is love, right? I cannot say that is not love, because that is not right. That is not my right to say that is not love. You are delusional. You are foolish. You're making a mistake. That's not true. I can only claim it from my point of view of morality and what is right or wrong, but you cannot really say that to the other person. The other person feeling that love and going back to that toxic place and feeling that pool, whatever it is, whatever it could be, he has the right, she has the right to go back there. And you can't say anything about it. And so, is that really love? I don't know. Theory, yes. Many types of loves exist, as I said. But if I had to make a short conclusion from all these thoughts, I guess you could say that love is what you make of it, is what each person makes of it. Because you cannot strip away a person's feeling of love or definition of love. You cannot control that person and tell him what is real or what is not, what is right or what is wrong. Because you can't really say what is right or wrong. You cannot predict the future. You can only live in the present. And in the present, there are so many variables in our heads, so many experiences that define us, so many different interactions and beautiful and also hurtful experiences that stay with us and define what we say and what we mean by love. And I guess here I'm talking about the romantic love, the friendship love, the platonic love, perhaps. That is the best description of it. Maybe does not have these extremes, but it does it because it's still the same highs and lows. It's still the same hurt. It's still the same words. It's still the same person. It's still the same comfort from that person that maybe you lose and now you need to get back, because the person and the people we spend time with, platonically or romantically, they define us in a way. And so it's not right to say, okay, this is not love, because it is love. The platonic love is just as much love as the romantic love. And perhaps the biggest love of all is to love somebody as a person. And then you could argue, beyond the external love, the biggest love of all is the love you have for yourself. Because if you base your own love on somebody else's love for you, you are basing your love on subjectivity and perhaps people's intentions that are always not very clear if they are sincere towards you, if they want the best for you or they want the best for themselves. And here comes the philosophical question, I guess, of is it truly that we are led by what we need? Is it our needs that lead us, or is it something external? The need to make the world a better place. And I don't know about that, but it definitely means that we can never be sure of a person's truest intentions. We can never be sure what that person wants from us, or if they're using us, or if they want the best for us. You can never be sure about that. I think we can all agree on that, because circumstances change. People change, whether we like it or not. And so the most safe, the most sustainable love is the love we have in ourselves. Because the love we get from external sources is always evolving and always shaped in different ways. This is not to say, not at all, that that external love does not matter, that it is not something that fulfills you. On the contrary, I think that is one of the most fulfilling things in your life that you can experience. Love that comes from someone else and you know is pure, and you think is pure at least. That's always something very, very beautiful. Honestly, I don't know why I'm tearing up a little bit talking about this. Maybe it is a recent personal experience of mine that makes me talk like this. But what I do want to say is that love is beautiful in all its forms. And the inner love is maybe the most sustainable, but the external love is the only one you can share with someone else. It's the only one that you can grasp and feel, because the inner love you can feel for yourself, it's not really real. It's not really, I guess, there. You can say you love yourself. You can believe you love yourself, but how can you feel you love yourself? You can't really do that. I don't know. I've never felt it that way. Maybe that's why I'm projecting my own thoughts like this. But I think at the end of the day, it is both types of loves are necessary, because if the inner love is not there, the external love will never thrive, including the one you send to other people. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? If you don't love yourself, how can you allow someone else to love you? And I guess if you don't love yourself, you can still love someone else. I'm talking about the romantic love, by the way. But based on what? Is it the need for that other person to fix you, to make you love yourself? Or is it because you love yourself enough, or you have the belief that you love yourself, that you can truly give that love to someone else? And then that love you get from the other person who also loves themselves is the purest type of love. And that's the most fulfilling, perhaps, type of love. And the problem is, it's never as clean as that and as idealistic and optimistic and whatever I might sound here. The reality is that love is complicated. And while I might say these things, there's so many factors about love and what shapes love and what love is. It's timing, it's what you've seen, it's what you felt, and that experience, those beliefs, it's what your brain can handle at some certain point in time. All of that always changes and always evolves. That's why I don't know if you can say that you love this person forever, because that's a very strong statement. And at some point, if that ever changes, you will lock yourself in a prison, a literal prison that you can never escape from. So that's why I think the purest, highest type of love is the one that is free, the one that is freely given, freely received, and freely existing within. The one that perhaps we can all feel is the one that is ready and able to be given. And the one that maybe doesn't ask for anything, because, or at least it doesn't try to ask, because we know that we have needs, and when we ask, when we love romantically, we have a certain ask. We ask not to have that love be given away to another person. We have an implicit ask to kept being loved, to continue that love every day with that other person. It's an ask, it's implicit, it's also sometimes explicit, but it can never be controlled, it can never be defined, is what I'm saying. You can never hold love hostage, because that's not love, that's Stockholm syndrome, maybe. I don't know, but I guess the most important conclusion of all is that love should be free. Love should not be controlling, because controlling love is not love. That's just torture. Torture that is not something beautiful, but something deeply tainted. And I guess we could argue what love is, if it's a form of control or if it's a form of freedom. And if you speaking and existing is enough to be loved and to be giving love when you love yourself, but that doesn't matter, I guess. The only thing that matters is our own experience of love and what we call love, of course, combined with all the mindfulness that we should have of whether that love is morally justified, I guess, or if that love is something that fulfills you, or if it's just an idea of love or what we think love should be, because we also watch movies that shape our experience of love. There's just so many beautiful things in this world that we can call love. It could be the small way we look out the window and we look at the person walking down the street picking up garbage that somebody threw irresponsibly on the ground, and we can say, I love this person for what he's doing right now. That could also be love, a small form of love that I've sometimes experienced towards other people. That might sound a bit weird, but it just is, to love a person for their deeds, to love a person for themselves. If you are able to, if you love yourself and you believe, and I guess you have a strong inner belief system that allows you to gauge or to feel what love is, or what love shouldn't be, or what love should be. But that is all subjective. And I guess the only objective thing is the feeling of love that we all have, each and every one inside of us, that we feel sometimes. We know it's there, but we can never define. I guess that's the objective thing that always exists. But the subjective thing is how we define it, and what we do with that love, and where we give it, how do we give it, where does it come from, and is it within us that we give to the other person? Or is it from a lack of that love that we perceive the other person to be the one we love? I don't know, but I guess I could say that love is beautiful, and in its imperfection and perfection, you will always find something rare and something unique to the experiences of everyone. And perfection, I guess, is never attainable. And that's also beautiful, but just as beautiful as the fact that imperfection in all its forms and glory is also a form of art. And if you value art, you will value love. I guess that's a very poetic way to end these thoughts, but I guess this is what I think love is. And love can always endure in all its objective and subjective forms. It can never be stripped away from any of us.